This is Charles Dennis, and welcome back to Paid to Dream. My special guest today is Patty McCormack, or Patricia McCormack, or Patricia Ellen Russo, or whatever name she wants to use. Are you there, Patty?
I'm here, Charles. I usually just Patty is good. You know?
Good.
I know.
Patty is good.
Russo, I would have stuck with Russo had they done that then, but what can you do? You know?
Well, at least the McCormack made sense. It's from your mother's side of the family.
It was my grandmother's maiden name. So, and I guess I didn't look very Italian when I was little, and I guess I still don't look very Italian. But
Italians are always surprised at this guy.
So,
hey, where you come from?
From
the north. From the north. Hey.
So my name became McCormack. And I stuck with it.
There you go. Well,
there you go.
I remember very fondly, I guess it's about 20 years ago, our friend Avery Schreiber was doing Strike Up the Band at the Honor. And he said, I got tickets for you. He called me, I got tickets for you. You'll be sitting with Patty McCormack. And I said, oh, that's nice. Wow. And I arrived, and I remember you were there with your nephew.
Oh, my gosh.
And that's how we first met.
That's how we first, you know, that I don't even, I'm so bad.
Freddie.
I'm like Etch-a-Sketch. You know, Freddie, absolutely. Freddie, Freddie is now, his official thing is he's like president and CEO of the Grand Central Business Improvement District. It's a long thing in New York. So he has, you know, all the little areas in New York have so-called improvement districts where the businesses contribute to making the neighborhood better looking, and he's the one that has Grand Central Station.
Wow.
Isn't that great?
It
so
is. He was running
for
office.
Busy.
I recall he was running for office when we first met, I think.
Yeah, he was counsel. He started out as, this is fun. It'll be about Freddie.
Yeah.
This is great. He started out as
give them
counsel.
Freddie's full name. In case
he's actually Alfred Cerullo,
right.
Cerullo, the third.
Oh, they liked the first two so much, they made the sequel.
They stuck with it. And then, actually in the South, that's Bubba, you know.
That's right, that's a Bubba.
Yeah, but we don't call him Bubba.
Or Trip.
So,
no, there are a lot of guys, if you meet a guy called Trip, you'll find out he's the third.
Yeah. Okay. So, he couldn't be less of a Bubba, you know, if he tried.
That's
anyway, so he started out as Susan Molinari's, who was the councilwoman, I think.
Yeah, she was big time.
Yeah, and he was counsel to her, and then when she moved on, he ran for her seat, and then he won, and then he was there for the longest time, attached to City Hall in a variety of positions. He was consumer affairs. He was, you know, all kinds of stuff. Yeah. And then at some point, I know he was close with Giuliani. He clearly a different party from his Aunt Patty. But
what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
Freddie and the red folk. That's it.
I know. But
here's the thing: you never knew. You know, I said,
right.
Patty McCormack, and I said, right. You know, the Ropers, bad seed, yada yada. What I didn't realize until we were having a chat one day, and you mentioned I Remember Mama, and suddenly I said, oh my God, because you got to understand, I'm 10 years old or something like that, and Friday nights I watch the show, and I have fallen in love with a character called Ingeborg.
You did? I never knew that, Charles.
I had no idea what the real girl's name was.
Yeah.
But I said, I love
Patty
her.
Russo.
I love her. And then when it turned out, it was like one of those fabulous James Hilton novels, you know, like Random Harvest, where suddenly you realize the secretary's actually his wife. And I thought, Oh, my God. This is Ingeborg. So
isn't that
there you
funny?
go. Now I confess it. And for all
I
the
didn't
world
know
and the
that.
internet.
That was a happy time. I liked doing Ingeborg. I remember enjoying it very much.
And now, what was she? Was she an orphaned cousin? Do you remember?
She actually, through a strange marriage, became Mama's aunt. Somebody, one of those older relatives remarried or something, and she somehow became the Mama's aunt. I think that was, and then was adopted by, I'll think of it, I want to say the Gunnarsons?
But she was 10 years old. Who could she have married?
No, she didn't. She was the...
I said daughter of whomever.
Yeah, some strange thing where she wound up Mama's aunt. I don't ask me how, but yeah, so anyway, and I think I spoke Norwegian the first couple of episodes. Learned it phonetically.
Wow.
Which was bizarre, but kids are great, they have no fear.
How amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
You and I, we were both kid character actors. We weren't
No, I know, huh?
We weren't the usual little whatevers. But
yeah, it's true. You too.
I thought of you the other day because they were having a Hal Roach season on TCM. They were showing all the old shorts, but then they had some features. There was this thing called The Housekeeper's Daughter, and there was Peggy Wood as a, like maybe in her late 30s or something.
Wow, isn't that?
And I didn't realize she had done films. I mean, I know, she was a big stage star in musicals, and then I remember Mama, and then I was thrilled when she came back for the movie of Sound of Music, and you finally heard what that legendary musical talent was when she sang. I mean, she was amazing.
Huh. Isn't that something? I know didn't she start, she was one of the founding members of the big thing in New York. It was like playwrights, something.
You mean Equity?
Maybe that was it. I know she was a lack of a better word, a heavy hitter back in the early days of, unions and theater, and I don't know. But it was kind of in whispered, ignorant tones that people told me about her. Sort of, this is Peggy Wood, and I thought,
wow,
okay, I don't know who that
Did you keep in touch with her at all after
no,
the show?
Nothing. It was,
well, it's that
funny?
famous. It's that famous story about the ingenue who falls in love with the seasoned leading man and has this passionate affair with him, and then the show is over and
everything.
It's the weekend, and she calls him on Monday, going, "Well, when are we having lunch?" Well, he goes, "I love you, kid, but the show closed."
Oh dear, yeah.
And it's true, isn't it? I mean, we have these intense relationships with people because we're spilling our emotional inners to each other on stage, whatever, and it's very confusing.
Yes. I think that's what's so weird about, being raised as a kid actor,
Yeah.
And you can have those moments later on when you're in the grocery store,
Yeah.
talking in great depth to somebody you'll never see again.
What I was thinking about when I was preparing this is, when you did Bad Seed on Broadway, there was a phenomenal number of children working on Broadway. I think about Brandon DeWilde and Mrs. McFing, and just a lot of plays that featured children, and I can't think of anything in the last 20 to 30 years.
The Children's Hour, wasn't the Children's Hour around that time? Or was it later?
It was a revival when.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back in the early 50s. No, Patricia Neal and somebody else revived it.
Okay.
But again, and there you had major roles for children.
Yeah, it's
and
true.
I cannot, as I said, with the exception of a musical like Annie, I can't think of any plays in the last 30 years that featured children.
Yeah, that's true. That is true, isn't it?
I wonder what that was.
They were all on series. They're all
well, I guess that's
new series.
Television so exploded.
Oh my God!
That's the first of it. I think what a lot of people don't know is that the original The Miracle Worker had been a television show first.
Yes, 2 years before the Broadway opening.
And you were Helen Keller.
I was.
And who was it? Teresa Wright was Annie Sullivan?
Teresa Wright was Annie Sullivan, and some of the people were the same. The director was the same.
Roger Penn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Arthur Penn, and who just not long ago passed away, I think. And Burl Ives.
Oh, wow.
And I want to say the brother was John Barrymore the third. I think, would that be Drew's father?
Well, there was a John Drew Devereaux as well who worked a lot. Maybe he was a cousin or something.
He was so handsome.
Wow.
Well, they all were, I think.
Well, we'll
you know,
look it
but
up. Nice-looking people, yeah.
Anyway, and it was wonderful. It's wonderful to watch the old, if you can find a copy of the old TV show.
Does the Museum of Broadcasting have it?
You know, I don't know, but I bet they do.
Oh, I'm dying.
I bet they do.
But here's my other question.
Oh, yes.
I mean, obviously when Patty Duke did the play with Bancroft, they had 8 weeks to rehearse.
Yeah.
And when they did the movie, they'd already done it for a year or whatever. But how much time did you have to become blind? How long was that rehearsal?
Well, we did the typical thing for Playhouse 90 was what we had. And it was 3 weeks rehearsal, and then they shot live. Remember how that worked? And
oh, my gosh.
In that period, we learned sign language, and they did a few clips of, there were specific scenes that I remember where the bird hatched in my hand, and we went somewhere to do that, and, you know, little things like that. My one of my favorite jobs, because, number one, there was no dialogue, nothing to learn, love that, and which you can relate to that, right?
Yeah.
It's so fun to work and have an important thing to do and not have to say anything. I love that. And I got to have brown hair. They dyed my hair brown. And so those
Your hair
two
got
things,
messed with a lot for somebody that young.
It did get messed with, and I continue to change myself.
And the miracle is that you still have your hair.
Oh, it was the strongest hair, I think, of, you know, I come from a long line of good hair. So thank God, because I would have no hair by now, I would think. My hair was attacked practically every job.
You think it was a coincidence that you married a hairdresser?
Yeah, there's something in that, isn't there? And he's still fine. He's out in, can I plug anything? Or
go ahead.
He's out in in Thousand Oaks, California, and the shop is called Trends.
Oh, there you go.
And he's well and happy, and we all see each other. So,
and I know you're not one of the Marx brothers, but just tell him Patty sent you.
Just say Patty sent you.
That's it. Remember Groucho saying that on
ask
your
for Danielle. Danielle is my daughter, and Bob.
That's right.
Okay?
Oh, isn't that fabulous? So here's another question.
Go ahead.
Based in Brooklyn, how did you get rid of that Brooklyn sound when we watched?
Do you think I did?
Well, not now that it's back.
Now I'm being normal now.
When I watched The Bad Seed, I mean, you're like Wendy Wasp. That's
exactly right. It's true. I was.
Did they send you somewhere?
I feel like a fake person. You know, that's true. I do. Because it must be like someone whose first language is something else. You know, they must always think they speak with forked tongue. You know, I don't know, but I imitated. I guess we acted. You know, Charles, we were actors. I imitated Nancy Kelly, and oftentimes, and you can. I never said that to anybody, but you can kind of see that if you watch the film with that eye. You know, you can kind of see that I was theatrical because she was so theatrical, and so. But I never really I never was dem, dees, and does because I was working too young. You know.
Right.
But it is.
Well, it's like my friend Elliot Gould, who when he goes, "Hello, how are you, Charles?"
Yes.
It's all sort of like Smokey the Bear or something. And then when he gets upset, suddenly it's fucking, you know, the whole, it's so Brooklyn, you know.
Yeah, you can't, it's a rhythm, I think.
Yeah.
It's a rhythm, and I talk to Freddie all the time, who doesn't sound New York, but he sounds New York enough. Yeah. And, I mean Brooklyn. He's not Brooklyn at all, but... Uh-oh. Hello?
Yeah. Are you there?
Yeah. You know what I thought? My phone died. Wait, I'm going to pick up the... Here. I'm flipping. Oh, did that sound way better?
It had a little moment there. It's
you had a little break.
We'll get back to you on that phone. Listen, I was listening to the. Here's another plug. If you buy the DVD of The Bad Seed, there's a fabulous on-camera interview with you where you look as gorgeous as ever, but also the audio track with you and Charles Bush.
Oh, that was fun.
But you were talking about when you were doing I Remember Mama, you were also doing Bad Seed on stage.
That's
and on
true.
Friday nights, they would try to put your scenes early in the show, if Mama, because it went out live. So
later, they put. Early. Yes, right.
Yeah,
exactly
so that
right.
you could get to the theater, and you were talking about changing in the cab.
True, honest
Here's
to
my
God
question.
story.
Were you alone in the cab, or did you have? No, was there somebody with you?
Usually my mother. I would. Otherwise, that would be a whole book. You know?
I know.
Wouldn't it?
So who was with you in the cab? Who accompanied you?
My mother.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it was. My mother was around pretty much a lot until we were out here and my baby sister was born, and then it switched a bit. You know, so. But the cab, thank God there was someone in the cab.
So was that Freddie's mother? Your baby sister?
Freddie's mother, no. My baby sister, Freddie's mother was the first. She was my big sister.
Okay.
She's gone. She died so young.
So sorry.
Yeah, just ridiculous, you know, just an
Freddie?
absurd. Oh, she was 45.
He was little.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and you know, she has two other. A niece and a younger nephew. So they really went through it. But my little sister is not little, of course, anymore. She's so she was the baby, and there were 18 years. There was 18 years difference between my younger sister and my older sister.
Wow.
So my mother was, peppy, I guess. Pretty peppy.
You were mentioning that your mother looked remarkably like Nancy Kelly, who played your mother in The Bad Seed.
She did. Isn't that crazy?
Well,
she
here's
really
the thing.
Did.
Also, you guys were ruminating. You know, how old was Nancy Kelly? You know, Nancy Kelly was only 35.
Yes, she was much in those days. You know, that looked
makeup.
so much older.
Yeah.
You know.
And here's the other thing that'll blow you away.
What?
You know, as I say, I mean, you are as gorgeous as ever. Do you know you're now older than Evelyn Varden?
God, that's scary.
Isn't that scary?
It's scary. I'm older than everybody. I know. It's like...
No, not Mickey Rooney.
I'm so relieved. You know, I know that the number doesn't... Well, it's true for everyone. You know, the number sounds strange. You think, that can't be right. You know? But it is, isn't it?
The meter tick.
The number is right.
You know?
Yeah.
And you just got to enjoy the ride.
You got to enjoy the ride. I know. And not worry about it. You know? That's the biggie, isn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
But when you have to practice not worrying, it's tension making. It's stressful. You know? Because we're New Yorkers, we worry.
Yeah. Now, tell me about, do you remember meeting JFK?
I do remember that. It was a publicity tour that, you know how they do those kinds of things? I mean, I don't know anymore. It's such a different world. But back then they try to mix, unlikely people together because they happen to be in the same city.
Right.
So there I was. I forget where. Do you know?
No. All I remember was in your apartment, and you had the framed picture of the Post or the News.
Cutting the ribbon for his campaign in, maybe it was Minnesota. Minneapolis, Minnesota, something like that. Right. And it was cutting his ribbon, which was, and I remember he said to me, sweet, such a charming, person. And I was maybe 13, 14, something like that.
Oh, so
totally ignorant.
He was just a senator then.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And he said, "Are you a Democrat or a Republican?" And he could have asked me, "Am I from planet Zircon?" Or, I looked at him like, and he said, "Of course, whatever." He was charming. He knew I had not a clue. Right. And, but I always remembered that. That was so wonderful. And
you know what I'm also amazed at?
What?
There has never been a Broadway revival of The Bad Seed.
That's true. You know what, though, I don't think so much of the writing of that play was reflective of its time, that when you try it now, it's comical. In other words, the things that were mind-blowing or, interesting were things in therapy.
Right.
It would have to be totally rewritten, that were groundbreaking then. I never thought of.
I read a bit about this guy, William March, who wrote the original novel.
Yes.
This poor guy.
Yeah. You told me this.
I just learned it. He died a month after the book was published.
Who told me? Somebody just told me this.
Oh, maybe
it wasn't you, Charles?
No, remember you did that thing at the Arrow a couple of months ago. They did.
Okay.
Maybe it was someone, either in
maybe
the audience.
There. But that his life was horrible.
Tormented the audience.
Yeah.
And this was the last book he wrote, and there's a whole school of people who are trying to bring back his work because he wrote several novels before this.
Wow.
His problem was he was in the First World War, and I think he's another one of those guys, one of the early post-traumatic stress people who just saw too much and flipped out.
What a great story, though, and
I know.
And it predicted the double chromosome.
Yes.
Nobody had heard of that, but the joke is the story. I know this from experience that who adapted it.
Maxwell Anderson.
Yes, Maxwell Anderson thought of it as one of his cheesy works. It was a play he wrote for money.
Well, and he probably for the first time made money because
but he thought it was a piece of garbage. He thought it was a real piece of garbage, and we didn't know that, of course, at the time.
Yeah.
But the joke is that the writing of it, the book, talks about, it examines the fact that the mother, in fact, murdered also, whereas the movie doesn't reflect that at all.
Oh, so they skip it.
Well, yeah, because the truth is the mother chose... Huh?
You mean Nancy Kelly or the grandmother?
Well, the grandmother, it was supposed to be, that Rhoda inherited the grandmother's gene and blah, blah, blah. It skipped a generation, but in reality it didn't skip at all because Nancy Kelly killed her daughter in the original story.
Yes.
And in the movie, no. But
no,
when you choose to kill, no matter what your reasons are, probably not a good thing,
Did you know, by the way, that Nancy Kelly had been a kid actress as well?
I knew a young woman, but I didn't know a kid actress.
No.
I knew she was young.
I think that was part of the kinship that she had with you.
Oh, I didn't realize
she had, because she was born in 1921.
Okay.
And she did a play on Broadway in 1931, so she was only 10 years old.
Wow, I didn't know that.
She did a play with Louis Calhern and Jane Wyatt called Give Me Yesterday. Wow. And then and it's, the interlinking of our lives, the great tapestry, as I call it.
Yeah, isn't it strange?
That Tony Perkins was one of my dearest friends. His dad, Osgood Perkins, played Nancy Kelly's father on stage. And Nancy was 16. It was a play called Susan and God with Gertrude Lawrence, and he dropped dead opening night in Washington.
No.
A little 5-year-old boy and all of his... Also, if you want to see a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old Nancy Kelly on screen, she made a picture called Girl on the Barge.
Wow.
One of their first talkies.
Wow.
So she had a whole... I think she saw there was a lot of simpatico for you because she... Yeah. That's why I think you guys had that nice off-screen relationship, off-stage.
It's funny. Quite a number of years ago, we met up, and I wasn't as... I wish it were later. I wish I was more who I became rather than who I was back then. I was I was nervous to see her instead of just relishing it. And and she wasn't dead too long after, but we were getting together because we were going to do a version of Night Mother.
Oh, brilliant.
Wouldn't that have been great?
Oh.
But she was kind of famous for, this I learned, thinking she wanted to do something and then not doing it. So she had always mixed feelings. Maybe it was fear. Who knows, you know?
Well, that's, they call Kevin Kline Kevin D. Kline.
Well, like that. It's like that.
He's another one that, he strings people along and then, oops.
Yeah, isn't it something? Yeah.
I want to talk about Orson Welles.
Great.
The famous uncompleted Don Quixote.
Mm-hmm.
And now somebody's made a documentary that had bits of it, but I don't think they have any of you. And you were the whole book. Well, you weren't just a bookend because. Well, tell us about your involvement.
What I can remember of the film is that I was a character in it who he was telling the story to.
Right.
So I think it was a book ended like that. He began the story and then I was in it somehow.
But I found footage.
But they cut it all out. So
I found footage on the internet that shows you in a movie theater.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard there was a. Yeah.
If you go to YouTube,
I think a lot of things were lost.
If you go to but so obviously you stepped out of just being the little girl sitting on his lap being read to.
Okay.
And there you are. Do you know how long? Do you remember how long you worked on it?
It was Mexico City.
Right.
And
God.
And we stayed in a little motel that I saw later on when I was working in Mexico. I went and looked for it. And we were all there, and
Akim Tamirov was there as well?
I was just thinking, Akim Tamirov was in it. And everyone stayed there, and then he had friends that we went to visit who were somewhere. I don't even know. Yeah. People who had left America, Well,
they were probably blacklisted.
I bet they were.
Yeah, there was a whole colony of, Dalton Trumbo and people like that who were living in Mexico.
Well, they were, it was... I know that someone had a child who was about my age. Isn't it awful I don't know details,
All right.
Yeah.
Let me help you with this, Patricia. We could
go
back.
We could go back in my mind.
Yeah.
And oops, that was terrible. And then this child, who was the child of someone, they were quite wealthy, I would say. They were pretty wealthy people. And I still was, knew how to clean my own room. You know what I mean? Because I'm really, that's who I am. But this kid didn't know how to open or close blinds. And I'll never forget that. I thought, my God, what does she do?
Yeah.
She had to call someone to open and close her blinds. And so whoever this child was, I spent time with her. We played together. And maybe it was just a weekend while we were working. I have no idea. I know that my mother, they were all big drinkers,
Mm-hmm.
They started off with breakfast and
wow.
continued on. And they must have been quite an illustrious group, but I don't know who they were. So, and it didn't rub off, I guess.
And did you not have some extraordinary experience coming home from that shoot? Something with the ETs or the UFOs? Remember that you told me something once about these amazing lights that you saw? Did I dream this up?
Maybe it's true. I always had a thing about Mexico. I did. No, I actually remember trying my mother's Pall Malls in the bathroom.
That's what did it. That's
maybe that was it.
Thing. And then after Bad Seed,
sitting on the sink, I was watching myself.
The wonderful Kathy O, which that song I remember was a hit song. I was wandering around singing Kathy O for an entire.
Oh yeah, the Diamonds did it. That was the real recording.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
that got released, I think, with, you remember the Diamonds?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, but I did sing it, Kathy O, and the others.
Where do the flowers go?
You know what? It was I'll tell you a funny story. It was Dot Records.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if anybody ever heard of them, but it was Dot Records, and I had a paper that said what the sales were, and that was maybe, peanuts, $2,154.12. And that's what it cost them exactly, including the 12 cents, so that our take was zero. So I think they weren't, it was one of those deals, where it was not beneficial to the artist,
Right.
Very funny.
What do you remember?
But it was Dot Records, huh?
What do you remember about Michael Curtiz, who directed you in Huckleberry?
Oh yeah, everyone said he was horrible. Like a real taskmaster, and I thought he didn't seem that way to me.
Maybe he was good with kids.
Maybe he was good with kids, but I knew I didn't know of his fame when I was working with him, but later realized, and he was just great. He bigger than life, I guess you'd say,
With very interesting English.
Very. It didn't bother me at all. I understood perfectly.
There you
and
go.
Very, who I remember mostly from that was
Eddie?
Oh my God, I'm going to forget his name.
Archie?
Who is it?
The fighter?
No. Well, Eddie Hodges, of course,
yeah.
Who was a kid actor. But
he became a minister.
I didn't know that.
I believe he's a minister down south.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
A bunch of those guys. Tommy Kirk became a minister.
Did he really?
A whole bunch of kid actors. So that's an interesting thesis.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, who is it you remember? Tony Randall?
Anyway, Tony Randall.
Yeah.
Who was hysterical. He was hysterical. And I knew that then. I watched myself in that film not long ago, and I was so uncomfortable. It was so revealing of where, my age and my comfort level physically, but it fit
15,
the character.
16?
It was fine,
How old, 15, 16?
No, younger. I think
Oh.
I had to be 13, 14, like that,
Right.
in that awful time,
Mm-hmm.
And there was Sherry Jackson, who was probably the most beautiful person on the planet, playing the lovely, whoever the one was that they were all trying to...
Oh, the other cousin.
Yes.
Yeah.
The pretty one. So, but it's funny to watch with the ugly hairdo. I had the Princess Leia things on my ears, the braids wrapped around my ears on each side.
I remember that outfit. God.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And when
leaping forward, a huge
go
leap
ahead.
forward in time to The Sopranos, where you finally came out of the closet as an Italian.
I did. Thanks to David Chase, he brought me. He gave me that. So, I don't know if they never really. I never. I did. I played her mom.
Drea De Matteo's
mom.
Who vanished, and you were your mother. You kept wondering, "Where's my kid? Where's my daughter?"
Yes. Yep. And then I, looked like I fell apart, and that was my last episode. So, but it was very fun. The little bit I got to do during that period was thrilling.
Well,
too thrilling. I was very nervous doing it.
You bring to the table all these years of what you learned and the people that you learned from. Yeah. That you got other people, younger people in that show who will never have had the experience of working with the kind of talent you were privileged to work with.
Yes, it's true. And it helps sometimes if you're not aware of it.
Yep.
But, because the older you get, the more aware you are of everything, and then it's intimidating if you're that, it can be.
Yeah.
And so it's always, it's easier. I swear, the less you know, the better you are.
And then I remember Entourage. We're into the real estate lady.
I had fun. I had
fabulous.
No idea about that show. So it was early on, and I didn't know what it was. And people kept saying, Entourage, with those guys, those cute guys, and, you know. And I thought, had not a clue, because I didn't even have cable then. So I didn't know. And that was, I had a good time. I had a good time doing that.
And thank goodness, you know, JFK didn't live to see you play Mrs. Nixon.
I thought of all, isn't that wonderful that they got Rhoda Penmark, you know, to be. Isn't that great? I know, I loved it. And I have to tell you, though, it's the strangest, we actors are funny, you know, because you can love, no matter where you sit, usually, I mean, I think that's true for most of us. I studied Nixon, and I looked at him like he was my, you know, person.
Yeah.
And I loved him. By the time I got finished, I loved him.
Well, you could understand that, you know, obviously she knew him when he wasn't. You know? I
know. And I loved being her for that brief moment, you know. Yeah. And then, you know, it took me a while after to come back to, you know, my position, you know, because I did. I fell in love with him.
And how did you enjoy being with Frank?
Well, that was, to be honest, I felt like I didn't spend time with him at all. First of all, because I had little to do. And secondly, he was one of those actors who stayed in character.
Yeah.
So if there was you know, somebody saying, checking the gate, you know, or whatever. I don't think they do that anymore. But if there was a moment in time, he was not communicative.
Right.
Other than a couple of times I heard Kevin Bacon address him as Mr. President.
Oh, they were all into it. Oh my God.
No, well, he had to. You know what I mean? That was sort of understood. And so, but I almost laughed. Do you know? I don't know why, but it just struck me funny because Kevin Bacon looked like he had a great sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't speak to anyone. I mean, I was quite like the person who entered for a moment and left. You know what I mean?
Right.
Unless you're on the whole shoot of something, you kind of feel like the relative who's visiting rather than, you know, one of the family. So, but I did. So I didn't really get to know him, but I know he's a character. He's funny. He's, you know, people who have known him. I have one little piece of fun stuff to tell you, though.
Yeah.
The prop ring that I wore as his wife,
yes,
Miss Pat Nixon, actually was worn by, oh my God, I'm going to forget her name now. She's on The View, and she used to be married to him.
Barbara Walters? No.
No. Comedian.
Joy Behar? Oh, Whoopi.
Whoopi.
You got Whoopi's ring?
A ring that Whoopi wore in a film.
Right.
And they said, and they showed me rings, and I picked one to wear as the wedding band, you know, the wedding ring. And they said, you know, Whoopi Goldberg wore that. And I said, well, this is perfect. Isn't that funny?
There you go. Well,
so that was my time.
Planted Kevin Bacon. That was 6 degrees of Patty McCormack. You know?
Yeah, 6 degrees. That's right.
Listen, it's been well, everything I hoped it would be. It's been.
Oh, good. All
right. I love you, Patty.
I love you too.
I'll speak to you soon.
See you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.